What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and it is that time of year. Once again, it is time for my top 5 best and worst movies of the summer 2019 movie season. Now, before I get into my top 5, there are a couple other categories that I want to go over. For the best category, I want to talk about my most underrated and most surprising movies. For my worst category, pretty much the opposite. Overrated and disappointing. And I'm also going to talk about my guilty pleasure as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with the best and then go to the worst later on. Starting off with the best, with the most underrated movies of the summer movie season. There's a few I could have picked here. I almost went with Aladdin. I could have gone with that one. But the two I went with, this is a tie. I went with Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and I went with the 2019 remake of The Lion King. Now, it could be argued that either one of these could be the most underrated. A lot of people have these two as their most disappointing, but I really don't get the hate for either of them. Starting with Godzilla. Godzilla is pretty much the definition of a summer movie. You go in, it's a big blockbuster. There's lots of big action sequences. Monsters beat the crap out of each other. You shove popcorn in your face. It's that type of movie, and I honestly really liked it. Almost loved it. It was a lot of fun. Sure, the human characters are weak, but still a lot of fun nonetheless. And then we get to The Lion King. The Lion King. This movie got a feisty storm of hate upon its release. But you know what? I really found myself loving it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic for the most part. Aside from a couple things like Beyonce as Nala, I still think they should have gotten Mandy Moore to play Nala. But nonetheless, I thought The Lion King was a fantastic visual spectacle. And low-key, I want to see Jon Favreau do a live-action adaptation of The Lion King 1.5 with Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen reprising their roles as Timon and Pumbaa. Make it happen, Jon Favreau. So, yeah. The Lion King, despite some of the emotionless facial expressions that can drag down some scenes, really fun. And also, I really liked Be Prepared. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it because it was a nice change, and it reminded me kind of a tribal chant. And I thought it fit She Would Tell Ejiofor really well. So, yeah, Lion King, definitely one of the more underrated films of the year and of the summer. Now, for most surprising, there's a few I could have gone with here too. One I could have gone with was Ready or Not. The other one I could have gone with was Crawl. But the one I decided to choose was the movie that was on my top 10 least anticipated movies, not just of the summer, but of the year as well. And that, of course, is the live-action adaptation of Aladdin. Again, a lot of people don't like this movie for whatever reason, and I didn't think I was going to like it either. I mean, Guy Ritchie was pretty much a recipe for disaster, but I ended up really enjoying it, and I thought Will Smith fit the genie really well. I thought Mena Massoud, or whatever his name is, did a really good job as Aladdin. Naomi Scott as Jasmine is one of the best female acting performances of the summer, for sure. She was so good as Jasmine, and there's a song that's different from the original film in this film that just features her. Wow, she really blew me away with that. So yeah, I didn't think I was going to like Aladdin very much, but I ended up liking it a lot. So yeah, Aladdin, definitely my most surprising film of the summer. So with that in mind, let's get into the best. So I have 4 honorable mentions before I get into my top 5. My 4 honorable mentions are Ready or Not, The Long Shot, The Lion King, and Blinded by the Light. So those are my honorable mentions. The Lion King actually just barely missed out. It would have been number 6. But without further ado, let's get into the top 5. Now, my number 5 is a movie that's similar to a movie that came out last year, but it has its differences for sure, especially a few key ones. But yeah, I'm talking about Rocketman. And yes, I have the poster right here. That is a Rocketman poster. The little square-shaped one right below the dragon poster. That is a Rocketman poster. Rocketman. It features the best performance of the year by a leading actor so far with Taron Egerton. And the cool thing about this movie is it's a musical. Like, they didn't do that with Bohemian Rhapsody. They did that with this movie, and I thought it was a nice touch. And yes, for the record, I do think this movie is better than Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't mention that in my review because I tried to avoid the comparisons, but I feel like now is the right time to do it. So yes, I do think Rocketman is superior to Bohemian Rhapsody. But yeah, Taron Egerton, really good. The characters, I think, are really good. Overall, Rocketman, just a really fun music-based biopic. That's why it's my number 5. Coming in at number 4 is the first of a couple superhero films on this list, and that is SpiderMan: Far From Home. A really good follow-up to Avengers Endgame, and Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. Don't at me, Tobey Maguire fans. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. And it was nice to see Nick Fury in this movie again, but Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio. He's one of the best villains of the entire year for sure. He was awesome in this movie. And of course, Tom Holland, and there's also Peter Parker's best friend. There's a little romance between him and Angourie Rice in this movie. Parker's friend and Angourie Rice, that is. Zendaya, I thought was really good. This movie has all the same type of jokes as the first movie. The third act was a freaking blast to watch. Great action sequences. Just overall a really good Spider-Man movie. That's why Spider-Man: Far From Home is my number 4. Coming in at number 3, it is a 3 in the series. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. John Wick Chapter 3, to me it's the second best John Wick movie behind John Wick Chapter 2, but nonetheless, John Wick Chapter 3 is still an amazing action movie, especially with the knife sequence and the dog sequence. Those two action scenes alone pretty much blew me away. Some of the best action sequences of the year. Keanu Reeves, once again, he's great as John Wick. Halle Berry's in this movie for a time as well. And I'm going to be honest, I can't wait for John Wick Chapter 4. At the beginning of the year, if you had asked me if we had needed a John Wick Chapter 4, I would have been like, nah, you could just end it here. But I can't wait for John Wick Chapter 4. As long as they keep the same directors, the same writers and everything, and they have Keanu Reeves return, I am perfectly fine with it. I will be all on board for John Wick Chapter 4. So yeah, John Wick Chapter 3, great action movie. That's why it's my number 3. Coming in at number 2, a lot of people didn't think this movie was going to be any good, but most of them were really surprised by it. My number 2, Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4. Oh man, what an emotional roller coaster this movie was, especially at the end. But yeah, just to see all the toys return, Woody, Buzz, Rex, Ham, Slinky, even though some of the side characters get pushed to the side a little bit, it was nice to see Bo Peep return as well. And then Key and Peele as Ducky and Bunny. Absolutely hilarious. They pretty much stole the show. And Keanu Reeves is in this movie too. So yeah, Keanu Reeves makes 2 appearances on this list. Anyway, Duke Kaboom is Keanu Reeves' character, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and of course, the ending to this movie just had me in tears. And honestly, if they make a 5, where are they going to go with it? I'll still be looking forward to it because it's Toy Story and they can't really do much wrong. But where are they going to go with it? So yeah. Also, Forky's awesome, and so is Gabby Gabby. There's just so many great characters in this movie, and it's such a great adventure. It is the weakest of the Toy Story movies, but it's still fantastic nonetheless. That is why Toy Story 4 is my number 4. Or my number 2. Jeez, gotta get my numbers right. And then finally, that brings us to the number 1 best movie of the summer. And yes, I am counting it as a summer movie because it kicked off the summer. Last year, we had Avengers Infinity War. This year, come on, you guys all knew it was coming. I have the poster for it right there. I have another poster for it right there. We are talking about Avengers Endgame, baby. Yes, Avengers Endgame is the best movie of the summer. It is a summer movie because of Avengers Infinity War. That was also a summer movie. It kicked off the summer. And, I mean, who would want ugly dolls to kick off the summer? Let's be real here. So, yeah, Avengers Endgame, man, this movie is just, it's something else. It really is. It's 3 hours. It goes by like that. And like just so many great moments, so many great characters. You have everybody coming back. Robert Downey Jr. deserves an Oscar nomination. He absolutely does. I said it in a tweet before. People got on my ass about it, but I stand by it. Robert Downey Jr. is the best supporting actor of the year so far, and he absolutely deserves an Oscar nomination. So, yeah, and also the third act of this movie is freaking awesome. Avengers Assemble, I Am Iron Man, I Love You 3000, just so many great quotes, so many great moments. This movie just has it all. The portal scene, like the portal scene alone gave me goosebumps. My theater was like a baseball game almost. Like when the home team hits a home run, it was almost like that in my theater when Avengers Assemble happened. It was, yeah, it's just an amazing work of filmmaking from beginning to end. 3 hours goes by like that. It's not just the best movie of the summer. It's one of the best movies of the year. It's going to be on my top 5 for sure. So, yeah, that is why Avengers Endgame is my number 1. Man, what a movie. So that's it for the best. Oh boy, now we get into the worst. Oof. And before I get into the worst, I'm going to get into my guilty pleasure movie of 2019. And yeah, let's just say this movie, like, first of all, I don't know how it got a theatrical release, but nonetheless it did. It's the type of movie you would see on the Sci-Fi Channel. And the surprising thing is there's really no connection to the original. It is a sequel, and yeah, my guilty pleasure is 47 Meters Down, Uncaged. Oh man, this movie had me laughing my ass off so many times. A fish screams, there's a deep blue sea death sequence, the third act of the movie has this flare gun sequence that in slow motion that's so over the top, but it had me dying laughing. Some of the other shark kills had me dying. This movie is just a laugh fest from start to finish, even though the first 20 minutes are kind of boring and it is objectively awful. This movie, man, so many great moments. That's why it's my guilty pleasure of the summer and of the year so far. So, with that being said, let's get into the most overrated movies of the summer. So, there's a few I could have gone with here, and there's one I'm going to be talking about a little bit later. But before that, there's a couple of them that I could have picked. I could have picked Good Boys. I could have picked Angry Birds 2. I could have picked Dora and the Lost City of Gold. And, let's see, there's one other one as well. Don't really remember what it was off the top of my head. But the one that I am going to go with is Booksmart. This movie, I don't know how it got such big praise. Because it's stupid. It's really stupid. The main characters, even though they have great chemistry, they're so annoying. They're so gullible. They get themselves into situations that could easily be avoided. Billy Lord, oh my god. I wanted to die every time she was on screen. She was awful. And of course you have the scene in the van where they're watching porn and the guy plugs it into the radio and it plays over the radio. And you also have the doll scene where they're tripping on a drug. So much cringe right there. Just so much cringe. The final 30 minutes, it does pick up a little bit, but it's ultimately not enough to save this movie. I think it sucks. That is why I think Booksmart is my most overrated movie of the summer. Alright, so now we're going to talk about our most disappointing movie of the summer. And for me, there was really only one choice. I could have gone with Brightburn. That was one I almost went with. Dark Phoenix was another one. But the one I'm going with, Yesterday. This movie had such potential to be great. It really did. It had so much potential, but it just fell flat in about every way. It was boring. It wasn't really that entertaining. Like, how does it even make sense? Like, the power goes out and suddenly the Beatles don't exist, Coca-Cola doesn't exist, cigarettes don't exist, Harry Potter doesn't exist. Like, how does that happen? due to a blackout. Stupid. And then, of course, like, some of the performances were good, like Hamish Patel, Lily James. They were good, but then you have people like Kate McKinnon. Why? Can she just, like, stop acting, please? God, she was so awful. So, yeah, yesterday had a great concept, but the payout just did not work for me. That is why it is my most disappointing movie of the summer and of the year so far. So, with that out of the way, let's get into the top best list. Or the top 5 worst, my bad. So, dishonorable mentions, we have Men in Black International, we have Dark Phoenix, we have Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, we have Booksmart, we have 47 Meters Down Uncaged, we have Ma, and the last dishonorable mention, Ugly Dolls. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into our top 5. Now, my number 5 was a movie that a lot of people were looking forward to, but I really wasn't looking forward to it all that much. It could have been great. It could have been good, given it was based off a DC comic, but it just fell flat in, like, every way. My number 5 is The Kitchen. Oh, The Kitchen. What an incompetently made movie. It has to be one of the most incompetently made movies ever. Now, there are some moments that were kind of funny, but for the most part, it's just bad. Melissa McCarthy, oh, what happened to you? You used to be good, you used to be funny. Like, go back to working with Paul Feig and do something that's not the freaking Ghostbusters remake, because I don't know what, like, your stuff has been trash lately. So, yeah, The Kitchen, not much to say about it. It's just so incompetently made, so poorly written too. The humor is cringeworthy for the most part. That is why it is my number 5. Alright, coming in at number 4. Why do these movies still get made? Why does this franchise still exist? Stop with these movies. I'm sick and tired of them. I think you can guess what it is. My number 4 is Child's Play. Can we stop with the Chucky movies, please? They suck. They're not funny. They're not scary. They're over-the-top, cartoony, and stupid. And this movie is no different. It's a remake or a reboot, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't really care. But yeah, Chucky kills a cat in this movie, by the way. And they try and justify it by saying, oh, it's not going to hurt him anymore. Screw you. That doesn't give you an excuse to kill a cat. I mean, it's still an innocent cat. And I mean, if you want to see a cat death that's funny, watch Christmas Vacation. Because that one was actually funny. Because it was all the cat's fault. And it was cartoony and over the top, but it was meant to be funny. And it worked. Like, stop killing innocent cats, movies. It, Chapter 1, almost did the same thing. Almost walked out. But yeah, nonetheless, this movie, Chucky goes on a killing spree. It's over the top. It's stupid. It's not funny. The acting's garbage. That is why Child's Play is my number 4. Moving on to number 3. Another Screen Gems film. Screen Gems, there's a special place in hell for you. There really is. I'm referring to The Intruder. That's my number 3. I hate these stalker films. I freaking hate them. They always have the stupidest characters, over-the-top cartoony acting, some unintentionally hilarious death scenes. Like there's a scene involving an axe in this movie that had me dying laughing at points. But the worst thing about this movie, it has arguably the stupidest character of the entire year. That being Annie. I don't remember who plays Annie, but she always lets Dennis Quaid's character into the house whenever she can, even though she knows he's creepy. Like, what are you doing? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Stupid. This movie's garbage. It's your typical stalker film. It's not fun to watch. Its pacing is horrible. It's edited to crap. It's shot to hell. It just looks horrible because it is horrible. Yeah, The Intruder is my number 3. Not much else to say about it. Number 2. For a while, this was my number one, and it probably could have been number one if something didn't happen a few days ago. But nonetheless, it's my number two. It came out back, I think, in May. I don't remember. But it features an actress that I hate with a burning passion. So yeah, my number two, if I can focus the thing. I don't know if you can see that because the lighting's really bad. There you go, that's a little bit better. My number two is The Hustle. Rebel Wilson, you're garbage. You're not funny. You're the female Kevin James. You're trash. Your fat jokes are not funny. They're over the top and stupid. And Anne Hathaway, what are you doing in this movie? Like, seriously, what the hell are you doing? And of course, like all the male characters in this movie, they're portrayed as idiots because feminism, female empowerment. Get that lame garbage out of here. This movie's not funny. It's fat jokes up the ass. Like, the chemistry between Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson's horrible. You have the French fry scene, which is one of the worst scenes of the year. There's nothing funny about this movie. There really isn't. Absolutely nothing. There's only one redeeming character, and I don't even remember who it is. But yeah, there's also the one where it's like Mexican sister or something like that. That scene, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, terrible, stupid. The Hustle is one of the worst movies of the summer and of the year so far. That is why it's my number two. My number one. Oh boy. The rant I did on this movie has gotten me so much hate. It came out recently. It's got a lot of views. It's got well over 200 views. But it also has 5 likes and 14 dislikes and a lot of comments from trolls who decided they would be lowlifes and have nothing better to do than to go onto people's channels and comment mean comments. But yeah, this movie came online a few days ago. And yeah, I could have picked it for the most overrated movie of the year, but I figured since it's number one on my list, I decided I would talk about it on my list instead. My number one worst movie of the summer 2019 movie season is Midsommar. And I'm sure a lot of you did see this coming, because I gave it a 0. It's the only movie of the summer that I gave a 0 to. It's absolute garbage. It's 147 minutes. It didn't need to be 147 minutes. And it's just nothing but padding and just pointless, pretentious bull crap that was completely unnecessary. There was no reason for it to be that long. It's got like all this shock value for the sake of shock value, abstract imagery, metaphorical garbage. The same stuff you see in every goddamn A24 horror film. Or any A24 film for that matter. It's the same thing. The only difference is this one has a longer freaking runtime. I mean, you already have the cliff scene, which is stupid enough as it is. And then you have the sex scene toward the end, which I walked out of this movie when I went to see it in theaters. I'm not joking. I walked out of it. And so did my friend that I was with. My friend that I was with, like, she was the one that, like, basically persuaded me to walk out, but I couldn't blame her at all. And then the ending to this movie. I already talked about it in my rant. In fact, I talked about this movie enough in my rant. You guys all know why this is my number one worst movie of the summer. And it's one of the worst movies of the year, for sure. So, yeah. Midsommar, directed by Ari Asswipe, who's a hack of a horror director, by the way, is the worst movie of the summer and one of the worst movies of the year. That is why Midsommar is my number one worst movie of the summer. And that is it for my top 5 best and worst movies of the summer, along with most surprising, disappointed, overrated, underrated, all of that good stuff, dishonorable mentions. So yeah, what are your top 5 best and worst movies of the summer? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. And what did you guys think of my list? Make sure to leave your thoughts on my list down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Just don't be a freaking troll, otherwise you'll probably get blocked. So yeah, I'm all for comments. You can leave comments like saying you disagree with me. Just explain why you disagree with me and don't be a dick about it like those people in my Midsommar rant. So yeah, Make sure to leave comments down below what you think of my list and what your top 5 best and worst movies of the summer are down below. Make sure to hit the like button on this video and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content to come in the future. I'll be coming up with my NFL predictions pretty soon. Probably not today because I've already got so much crap going on today. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content to come in the future. And until my next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember to stay California cool. Peace.